Are you happy to carry straight on here?
I am indeed. So let me just start sharing. I think that's the one. Can you see my slide?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, you can. Great. Thank you, Elena. Thank you very much. So hi, everyone. My name is Eirini, and let me just jot down the time. My name is Eirini Koutoumanou. I'm a statistician by profession, and I direct the Center for Applied Statistics courses. So this is a center housed within a UCL, so like Simon and Elena, under the same sort of institution, and we are in one of the many departments of UCL, the Great Ormond Street Institute of Child Health. I will be spending the next sort of 15 minutes giving you a brief overview of our experience as a center with regards to statistics training for non-statisticians, who specifically I will focus on those non-statisticians that need the training for the workplace. This might be either because they are the need to run some data analysis themselves, or the need to simply understand colleagues or other people's sort of research for their own work purposes. So, as I said, I'll talk about sort of our experience with that, and where do we think the future is heading to. So, Cask, as we call ourselves, has been operating since 2008 in its current format. We spend the majority of our times teaching statistics to non-statisticians, and these are students. There might be students either at UCL or outside, so master students, PhD students, or BSc students, but we also teach researchers, fellow colleagues from within ICH, UCL or beyond, but professionals, but also professionals, and this is the audience I'll mainly focus on today, even though a lot of the things I'm about to say will actually also be adaptable and extendable to the other groups. But my main focus today is about our professionals who are, they might be in early stages of the career or later stages. Nevertheless, what really connects them all is the need to learn about a statistical technique that they didn't know anything about before, or they knew a little bit about before, but they really are determined now to commit some time in learning about a new technique, a new software, and so on. So our courses are taught in simple, everyday language. We take away, if not all, the majority of mathematical notation and terminology, and we try to keep things as simple and understood to all as possible. And all of this operation, if you like, has been the response of what we found as high demand for simple explanations and simple examples of statistical concepts. This was observed through years of consultancy from our founder, Cask's founder, Angie Wade, who also sits in the same special interest group that Elena leads, and it was all those common questions that kept emerging through consultancy meetings from our students, from our researchers, in the sort of same format that Alan and Ellen were talking about before, the stat support that the Institute was providing. And because it was the same type of questions, we came, Angie came to the conclusion, why don't we run courses where we get many people at the same time coming to listen and get taught about specific concepts? And this is how Cask was born, and how it's been sort of evolving since. The format of the short courses is as follows. So we run them in small groups, 20 or 30 participants, plus and minus few people, always depending on the topic. We provide the participants with notes, with actual short booklets of our explanation of a given topic. Those notes, similar to what I just said moments ago, do remain written in simple language, in simple terms with minimal, if any, mathematical notation. So we try to take away all the mathematical jargon and the things that people often fear. As said by Ellen before, the anxiety and the stats anxiety and the mathematical sort of fear that many people have. That's exactly what we're trying to fight against, and tell people, let's forget about all that. Let's just focus on what these things really mean, how you can use them to meet your objective, which is ultimately to analyze your data correctly and to be able to interpret the results. We also then share presentations, of course, the presentation slides of our notes. So people have sort of our content, they have it presented in different formats. Whilst doing all of that, we are also using exercises, of course, and exercises can take different types of types of expression. It could be critiquing published work, finding some examples from papers already published, and then questioning our participants. Do you think this is a good way of analyzing the data or not? And for our computer-based classes, we have data sets. We give people data sets, we make those available, and we go around in the classroom if we were face-to-face, or for the last 2 years, obviously, it's all been done online in a classroom similar to this where we are now through Zoom and breakout rooms and so on. So very much hands-on, really getting people to sort of think of those, to practice those critical skills that we're teaching them. So from that experience, if I was to, from all those years of experience, if I was to say, what are the specific characteristics, the statistics training for those in a workplace, what do they actually, what should they be like? If you were thinking, okay, I want to run a course, I want to run a course where it will be open to others to come, to everyone to come and attend, and you might have those professionals in mind, what are those specific characteristics that you should be looking for, according to us and our experience, of course, and it'd be great to hear other people's comments and thoughts. And here is sort of my top tips. They should be short, clear, intuitive, interesting, applicable, citable, and fun. And I'm about to just say a few words about each of those. It's a shame I couldn't come up with a word. Like maybe I will. If I look at the list a little bit longer, I'll be able to put an acronym together to stand for something. But for now, I'll just tell you what each of those are. And really, all of those together, the aim of them is really to break the stats fear. You know, the fear that a lot of people have that say, look, I've been told to come to this course. My manager asked me. I know it will mean a lot to my CV. I don't want to, but I'm here because I'm determined to do better. And we hear that all the time from our participants. So we're keeping it short. We're keeping it short because we know it's a commitment that often people have to make amongst many other pending duties, responsibilities. So 1 or 2 days, that's at least for our courses. In some instances, there might be a bit longer, 3 to 5 days, but really nothing more. At least as a center, we don't offer anything more than 5 working days long. Because we find that it's otherwise very difficult for people to commit to that much time off work, off their main responsibilities. Again, keep it clear. The message always to be clear, the description of the message, the description of the content, done using everyday language and simple terminology. Make it intuitive. Allow participants to be able to relate to the examples that you're showing. They might all come from different backgrounds, and of course that is a challenge. But then if you have a group that all come from different backgrounds, let's find an example that's common to all of us, regardless of our background, a social example, an education example, and so on. Make them interesting. Find some gripping questions to get people's curiosity going and to get people's interest in the matter and the way you could possibly answer that specific research question using statistics, so you immediately have their attention. make it applicable, get people to understand this is all, this is what policymakers, directors of institutions, this is what they use. They use data to then make decisions. So nothing is just limited to a certain area or a specific scenario. Statistics can be used wherever there is data and can be adjusted, can be adjusted in many different ways to answer many different types of questions. Make it citable. And what do I mean by that is really, what we have found is that providing a set of notes for our participants to go back to has been very useful for them. Months, often years after having people attending our courses, they write back to us to say, you know what, this was the time now, 6 months, 12 months after I attended your course, I was able to now look at the notes again, because now it's when I really needed the skills. And it has been so useful for me to have a set of notes laid out in simple everyday language, explaining what linear regression is, what meta-analysis is, how to use R, and the list goes on. So we started this right from the beginning, and it's something we feel really strongly about, even though it does take time. Of course, I'll admit that it takes time, but once you've written those set of notes, it's a great asset, and then you just keep going back to them and updating bits here and there as necessary. Of course, make it fun. This is no, I'm talking to a group of people that teach or provide support, and we know how important that is to sort of include in your learning quizzes, media, make it personal. In a short period of time, I know it's not, you cannot create that a kind of relationship with longevity like we do with our students, our MSc students or our BSc students. They're there for a few months. No, we won't be able to create that type of relationship. But even for a single day or a couple of days, be personable, be communicative. That's what we find really helps them and encourages participants to ask questions. So what does the future hold? A little bit like Alan I'm looking at the crystal ball for the future. And I'm not going to say anything too sort of groundbreaking here, more of the same. Of course, everything we've been doing so far, we find that works. We find that works. So of course, keep up all those sort of characteristics and specific traits of short courses for professionals. But also don't forget some other important elements that I haven't mentioned before. Affordability, especially for us being based at universities, we find that it's just an element that often is not spoken about too much. But I believe we have a duty as statisticians that have a passion on teaching statistics to make it possible for all types of professionals, whether they are from bigger institutions, smaller institutions, charities, and so on, to make these short courses affordable, to allow people to come and get trained, to come and sort of learn about this beautiful science. Manage people's expectations. I often call that the curse of short courses. And the curse in my mind goes as follows. In a short course, you have to sort of start, at least that's how we do it, we lay some foundations. So the start of a short course is often simpler than the end, which means that by the time people have got to be familiar with you, with your way of talking and teaching and the content, you are now ending the day, you're ending the short course, but yet more complicated content and a little bit more involved and a little bit more advanced. And often people will feel, and that's what experience and feedback has told us, that they always feel they want more at the end. The day wasn't enough, couple of days wasn't enough, because you go to the end and you talk to us about those extra, more advanced, more involved matters, and yet you had to stop there. But that is, again, that's why I describe the curse of short courses, is that it by default is going to be like that, unless, of course, you've started by saying, I'm going to teach an advanced topic. I'm still going to do it with simple language, good examples, examples, everyday terminology. But I expect people that come to this course to meet some specific prerequisites, and this will be specific things I'd expect them to know about the taught content. Of course, then there comes a discussion about hybrid teaching, and from Simon there we had some great tips which I made note about. We'll be trialing hybrid teaching very much within Cask in the coming months as well. So some great tips there. So there's the hybrid teaching to consider, the self-paced learning. I think in the years to come there will be place for both. We will find participants really flourishing in one type rather than the other. So I feel that we need to have provision for both types available out there. And don't forget to move with the times. Of course, there's a lot of new, not so new, but new labels, if you like, of things flying about: machine learning, big data, visualizations, and so on. We need to remember to move with the times. And this is something, again, even within Cask, after 15 years of running the short courses, is very much becoming now very prominent, very obvious that we need to adapt. We need to adapt with some of the new terms that you know, a lot of in a lot of professions will be asked for. You know, certain skills using specific labeling will be expected to be in people's CVs and so on. And short courses for professionals should incorporate those in their offerings. And I think that's it. I hope that was useful, brief, but I hope interesting. And do get in touch if there's anything you'd like to sort of comment on or give any further feedback. That would be great. So thank you.
Thanks ever so much for that, Eirini. So now we're going to open the floor for questions.
Hi, this is a question for Eirini, sorry. The non-statisticians that you're catering for, who are they exactly? Are these academics in, I don't know, departments of scientific departments, or are they not academics or people not in sciences and so on?
Thanks, Mark. Actually, not academics. We do get academics, but the people I specifically had in mind for this talk is all the non-academics. So to be more specific, we get people from the police force, the National Statistics, the National Office of Statistics, from councils, from hospitals. I mean, the medical audience is probably one of our highest sort of group, if you like. We are based at the Institute of Child Health, which works very closely with the Great Ormond Street Hospital. So naturally, we have a large medical audience, but we have been surprised ourselves over the last sort of decade that we have a regular stream and consistent stream of engineers, architects, self-employed people, you know, just running their own companies, just wanting to understand, you know, how do I use this SPSS or R to do tables, graphs, and so on. So it's quite a variety. It's beautiful to see.
And so it's not just a UCL community, it's beyond.
No, not at all.
I see.
It's beyond, absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you.